Hey everybody, Mark Edward Lewis here from CinemaSound.com. You know, there's a lot of mistakes that independent media makers make when it comes to sound. And you know, doing sound production isn't the most intuitive thing to do, and a lot of people just think they can figure out how to do it watching YouTube videos, etc. But really, what's needed and what's required to understand how to get Hollywood-level audience immersion through sound is a comprehensive and well thought out education to get people from, I'm a photographer, I don't know what I'm doing in sound, all the way to delivering in 5.1. Now maybe that's not you, maybe you don't need to deliver in 5.1 and you're just doing something much more simple. But even then, just the ability to get sound into a recorder, that can be something that's not very intuitive, and we can end up with crummy sounding audio at every stage in post-production. Like I said, there's several mistakes that filmmakers make over and over again when it comes to making sound in their productions. And I'm going to cover a few of them here in this video, and they just so happen to coincide with the Cinema Sound Education chapters: Record, Edit, Fix, Effects, Music, Mix. The first mistake filmmakers make is bringing audio into a camera or some other kind of lousy recording unit. A phone can be a good unit. There's adapters that you can plug into the digital port on your phone that allow it to be a reasonably good recorder, but your camera or some other cheesy little device isn't going to suffice. And even if you have a great microphone, it's still not going to be a good recording. Instead, what we want to have is a really good split system, a camera and a separate recorder that records at a very good sample rate, 48 kilohertz or better, always 24-bit. Why do we have to record at an uncompressed rate? Why can't we go something lower? Well, it'd just be like if you were trying to do a color correction where you had to do a lot of chroma and a lot of luma. You'd rather do it at 8K uncompressed than you would at 480i SD compression. It's the same with audio. By the time we're done doing all the things that we need to do, if it's recorded at a low recording rate, a low frame rate, a low sample rate, a low bit rate, it's always going to sound cheesy. Then of course, a lot of times filmmakers make mistakes in buying the cheapest microphones they can instead of the right microphone. Now that doesn't mean it's the most expensive microphone, but when YouTube comes out and says, hey, if you've got $250 to spend on gear, spend $50 on a camera and $200 on a microphone, we should probably take heed. The next mistake that I see filmmakers make all the time is either not putting crossfades into their edits or into their objects, or using the wrong kind of crossfade. Linear crossfades or regular exponential curve crossfades are always the wrong choice and reveal subconsciously to your audience that there's been an edit and there's something false going on. Instead, we want to use that concave geometric fade that creates a really smooth transition from one volume to the next. The next mistake I see filmmakers make all the time is trying to fix bad audio too much. Now, we're always going to get some noise in some kind of audio, even if it's in a perfectly recorded room, in a perfectly quiet situation with a great microphone. There's always going to be some noise in there, and some noise is okay. Now, obviously, birds and horns and things like this aren't okay, but we don't want to correct or fix our audio to the point where it's bone dry. First of all, it doesn't feel very natural. And secondly, if we're doing that, we're probably also adding a great deal of artifacture into the original sound. The next big mistake that I see filmmakers make is around effects and sound effects, and that is not layering sound effects. You know, the idea that we're going to put effects into a movie in post is primarily unnatural, generally speaking. Ideally, we would have recorded all these sounds on set. But you know, there's a PA walking around with a hammer in his belt and a noisy camera or whatever. We can't do that. We're going to do it in post. To make up for that, we need to make sound effects that are larger than life, and we do that by layering. The more we layer, the better chance we have of our sound effects passing through a very complex mix and creating a sense of dispelled disbelief. Also, when we get into the mix, once we have multiple layers, we can always pull layers out or add or whatever. Much better to have too many layers in the mix session where we're burning a lot of money than it is to not have enough and have to spend that time to add more. Also, another mistake that I hear filmmakers make all the time is mixing Foley too loud. And look, Foley is amazing, and yeah, I'd love to hear it too, but Foley should really be felt and not heard. One of the most brutal and disheartening mistakes that I hear filmmakers make in their productions, even influencers when they're doing a mix, is using the fader as their primary mixing tool. You know, moving volumes up and down on a piece of audio is fine, but it really won't help us make a great mix. What is the tool that we really need to use? The EQ. You see, in a 3D model of sound, every sound, no matter how many there are, has to have its own unique space. And we sometimes need to carve the sound out of one layered sound to allow another one to live in that same space. For example, if you had a sound effect where, it was a nice sound effect and it had to be there, but a lot of the frequencies, combated and overlaid with the dialogue. Well, we need to cut the dialogue frequencies out of the sound effects. Same with music. If we have music that we really want to turn up loud, but the dialogue is getting mashed, we cut the dialogue out of the music, and that way we can bring up the music and keep the dialogue where it is and envelop it in emotional manipulation, which is what music is. Now, we cover all of this and hundreds more in our Cinema Sound education that's over 90 hours. But if 90 hours is a little bit too much for you, which I would understand, we have a new product called Cinema Sound Lightspeed, which takes all 90 hours and basically cliff notes it down into about 2.5. All the major points of how to get that Hollywood unfair competitive advantage into your productions in the world of immersion, storytelling, and emotion in 2.5 hours. It's under $10 and it's there at the Cinema Sound store. We look forward to seeing you at Cinema Sound and on our Instagram page and of course on our YouTube page. Go ahead and browse around and enjoy yourself and look at all the articles and the videos. And we look forward to seeing you there very soon.
Even for yourself.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us here at Cinema Sound. I'm Mark Edward Lewis, and it's my honor that you would choose to join us here and enhance your audio experience as a multimedia producer. And whether you're an influencer or an independent media producer or somebody who's been around quite a while and just wants to expand your sense of audio understanding in both recording and in post, welcome, welcome, welcome. I just want to kind of give you a little tour of what's available here. Now, you should have gotten an email that shows you various discount codes that we'll be talking about in a moment. The basic idea around Cinema Sound was to educate filmmakers in something that's not really very intuitive, certainly something that we don't learn at film school, and that's how to create, record, produce, and output great sounding multimedia audio experiences. Now, a lot of people think that you can just go find that on YouTube somewhere, but really it requires a comprehensive, well thought out education that takes you from, I maybe don't know anything about audio, maybe I'm a photographer, all the way to being able to deliver in high level Hollywood surround sound formats in an incredible immersive environment for your multimedia. And that's what I designed for the 90-hour plus Cinema Sound education. And that includes all of the modules that we have there: record, edit, fix, effects, music, mix, workspace, and inspiration. And each one of those covers dozens and dozens of issues that filmmakers have and run into and have for years around sound for picture. I've crafted it to teach you step by step, building upon building upon building of skills, so that by the time you get to the end, you have this huge arsenal and capability skill set that was never there before for creating powerful immersive media. Now, although MZ.com also hosts the education of Cinema Sound, at least 80% 85 hours of it. They don't have the podcast or survival guide. But with MZ, their $2.99 a year subscription allows you to have a whole bunch of other education around directing, cinematography, editing, color correction, all kinds of other things like that. But that's a yearly subscription. If you want to own it forever, the Cinema Sound education, including the podcaster survival guide, which is also included, then you can get that here at Cinema Sound in the Cinema Sound store. That's our main education, and we've been changing filmmakers' lives for years and years now with that very education. There's also, if you don't want to do 90 hours, something we call Cinema Sound Light Speed, which is all 90 hours, kind of cliff noted into about 2.5, and it's available for under $10 at the Cinema Sound store. Also at Cinema Sound is the blog. Hundreds and hundreds of articles that I've written and others have written to help you understand how to get that Hollywood immersive experience. We also have an Instagram with over 10,000 people on it with updates daily on all kinds of happenings, coupons, and all kinds of fun things in that community. We have a YouTube channel with over 15,000 people on it that allows us to dig deeper into real-time education on just about every one of the articles that's at the Cinema Sound site. Hundreds of videos, hours and hours of content to show you how-to, reviews, and special tips and tricks. We also go live on YouTube whenever there's a circumstance where we want to do something, where we want to be able to interact with people directly and Cinema Sound members. On the Cinema Sound site itself, we have an incredible reference called the Cinema Sound Microphone Archive, where I've gone and painstakingly recorded dozens and dozens of microphones that are available for purchase and compared and contrast their sounds in recording things exactly the same way for each one. Now you can go take a listen to each one of those microphones and see for yourself what mics might sound best for your arsenal. In the Cinema Sound store itself, we have additional education to the Cinema Sound education as a whole, including the world famous Adobe Audition 1, 2, 3 education, how to shoot your own auditions as an actor and make them look and sound great. We have a quick start guide to 5.1 mixing. Of course, Cinema Sound Light Speed is there. We also have the podcaster survival guide as a separate thing that's there, and many, many other resources, including t-shirts and merchandise and all kinds of things like that. Perhaps the most important aspect of what's available there, the most important product, is the ability to buy the entire data footprint of Cinema Sound. All of the educations, all of the products that are digital on one hard drive. Now that's what's available at Cinema Sound. Now of course you're already a member of the mailing list, and this is where we will announce, and really the only place that we announce when we go live, and also special deals and coupons that'll be coming monthly. But we do have a product that's outside of the Cinema Sound environment, and that is our kind of the product we're most proud of, which is the Cinema Sound Foley Library that's available on Contact, where you can perform your own Foley tracks on a MIDI keyboard and change them at will. It is changing the lives of so many filmmakers and sound designers. We are very, very proud of it. It took us 2 years to be able to build it, and we're very happy to be able to release it to you. Again, I'm really honored to have you join us at cinemasound.com, and please, please reach out. Oh, also there's a Facebook page and a secret Cinema Sound page that we have, a group just for you. And remember that the animal that I hate most is ducks. When you're queried about it, you can just type ducks and then that'll give you the entrance. That's the password. I look forward to seeing you there on YouTube, Instagram, the Cinema Sound site, even on Vimeo where our videos are hosted. Thanks very much. I'll see you soon.
Even if where you're stuck.